In occult traditions and throughout history, the most powerful forms of defensive magic are known as apotropaic magic, practices designed to repel harm, misfortune, or evil influences. Rather than a single magic spell, this type of protection often involves symbols, rituals, and objects that create spiritual barriers or deflect negative energy. But if you think that's all, stay tuned. At the end, we reveal the actual historical protective spells used by cultures across the world, some of which were believed to be incredibly potent against real dangers. Dreamcatcher. The dreamcatcher originates from the Ojibwe people and was traditionally made to protect infants and children during sleep. Crafted from a willow hoop with a hand-woven sinew web, it symbolically filters the night. Good dreams pass through the web and drift down the feathers, while negative dreams become caught and are rendered harmless by daylight. This practice is authentically documented through Ojibwe oral tradition and early ethnography. To use it, a family member, often a mother or grandmother, wove the net and hung the dream catcher above a cradle or sleeping area. No formal ceremony was required. The intention and craftsmanship carried the protective meaning. While dream catchers have become common worldwide, their original function as a culturally specific, protective children's charm remains well documented and important to Ojibwe identity. Eye of Horus Amulet. The Eye of Horus, also called the Wedjat, was one of the most widely used protective symbols in ancient Egypt. In myth, the god Horus lost his eye in a battle, and it was healed and restored, so the symbol came to represent protection, health, restoration, and wholeness. Archaeologists have found thousands of Wedjat amulets placed on mummies, worn as jewelry, and painted on boats and coffins. Egyptians believed the symbol guarded the body from harm, illness, and evil influence, both in life and in the afterlife. Traditionally, the Eye of Horus was carved from stone, faience, gold, or glass, and then worn as a pendant or sewn into clothing. Priests might bless the amulet during rituals, but everyday people simply wore it for continuous protection. Parents sometimes placed a small Wedjat near a child's bed, believing it kept away danger. The use of the Eye of Horus did not require chants or ceremony. The symbol itself was understood to carry protective meaning through its association with Horus's restored power. Fascinum Phallic Charm. The fascinum was a small phallic charm used throughout ancient Rome as a protective object against jealousy, curses, and especially the evil eye. Romans believed that sexual imagery, particularly humorous or exaggerated forms, had the power to repel harmful intentions. These charms were extremely common. They appear in jewelry, sculptures, children's necklaces, and even large hanging wind chimes in homes and shops. Roman writers such as Pliny and Varro described the fascinum as a recognized tool for guarding people, especially children and victorious generals, from envy and harm. To use a fascinum, Romans simply wore it or displayed it somewhere visible, like a doorway, crib, or wagon. The charm did not require a formal ritual. Its power came from the belief that its shocking or comic appearance turned away hostile energy. Elite families hung them in their homes, soldiers carried them for luck, and children often wore them to keep illness and misfortune at bay. Its effectiveness was understood symbolically, not magically. The object's form itself was supposed to disrupt negative attention before it caused damage. Saint Benedict Medal. The Saint Benedict Medal is a Christian devotional object that became widespread in medieval Europe. It includes symbols and Latin initials representing prayers traditionally linked to Saint Benedict of Nursia, who was associated with resisting temptation and harmful spiritual forces. Over centuries, Christians viewed the medal as a way to seek God's protection from danger, illness, and spiritual anxiety. The inscriptions on the medal come from old liturgical prayers and phrases used in Christian exorcisms. To use the medal, Catholics historically asked a priest to bless it with a specific prayer. After that, the wearer might keep it on a necklace, attach it to a rosary, or place it in a home or vehicle. Many Christians recite the short phrases engraved on the medal as a personal prayer for safety. The medal is not considered magical, rather it is seen as a reminder of faith and a request for God's help through through the example and intercession of Saint Benedict. Its use is simple: possession, prayer, and trust in its religious meaning. Omamori charms. Omamori are small amulets sold at Shinto shrines and Buddhist temples in Japan. They contain written prayers or blessings inside cloth pouches and are associated with protection, good fortune, and guidance from deities or Buddhas. Different shrines offer omamori for travel safety, health, academic success, business prosperity, and general protection. The tradition developed over centuries as shrines created portable versions of sacred blessings that people could keep with them daily. To use an omamori, a visitor purchases one from a shrine, often during New Year visits or festivals, and carries it on a bag, inside a wallet, or in a car. The contents are never opened because opening the pouch is believed to diminish its symbolic blessing. People typically return the charm to the shrine after a year to be ritually burned and replaced. The power of an omamori lies in its role as a constant reminder of divine support, not in any ritual action. Carrying it is considered sufficient for receiving its symbolic meaning. Mezuzah scroll. The mezuzah is a sacred scroll placed on Jewish doorposts containing biblical passages from Deuteronomy, written by a trained scribe. Historically, it serves as a physical reminder of the covenant with God, marking the home as a place dedicated to divine teachings. Jewish tradition has long held that keeping a mezuzah brings spiritual protection, meaning the household is symbolically under God's care and attention. Using a mezuzah involves reciting a blessing and attaching the scroll to the doorpost, usually angled slightly inward. The case often has the Hebrew word Shaddai, referencing one of God's names. Jews traditionally touch or kiss the mezuzah when entering or leaving, reinforcing its role as a daily reminder of faith. While its protective meaning is spiritual rather than physical, the practice has been consistent for thousands of years and remains an important part of Jewish life. Helm of Awe. The Helm of Awe is a magical symbol found in Icelandic grimoires from the early modern period, the 1600s through 1800s. These manuscripts record protective symbols and rituals used by Icelanders for courage, mental strength, and defense against harm. While often associated with Viking imagery today, the historically documented use of the Helm of Awe comes from later Icelandic folk magic, not the original Viking age. In the grimoires, the protective power of the symbol is activated by drawing it on an object or the body while reciting specific Icelandic incantations. Practitioners believed it strengthened the mind, created personal confidence, and warded off spiritual or emotional threats. It functioned as a psychological and symbolic form of protection rather than a physically magical shield, and it represents one of the most well-preserved examples of Icelandic protective folk practices. Enkisi power figures. In Congo tradition, Enkisi is a sacred container or figure empowered by a ritual specialist known as Nganga. These objects are filled with spiritually significant materials, herbs, earth, metal objects, or shells that work with the presence of a spirit called upon for protection, healing, or justice. Archaeological and ethnographic records show that Enkisi objects served as central tools for community well-being and defense against misfortune or spiritual harm. To activate an Enkisi, the Nganga performs specific rites such as chanting, drumming, and placing symbolic substances inside the figure. Some Enkisi, especially Enkisi Nkandi, feature nails or blades hammered into them to seal oaths or direct the spirit's attention to a problem. Households also carried smaller versions for personal protection. The practice is one of the most extensively studied African spiritual traditions and has deep historical roots in Congo culture. St. Brigid's Cross. The St. Brigid's Cross is a woven cross made from reeds or straw and placed in Irish homes for blessings and protection. This custom is linked to St. Brigid, an important figure in Irish Christianity, and is well recorded in Irish folklore. Families believed the cross safeguarded the household from fire, illness, and hardship, making it one of the most widespread protective traditions in Irish rural life. Traditionally woven on February 1st, St. Brigid's Day, the cross is created during family gatherings, often accompanied by simple prayers. The new cross is hung in kitchens, barns, or above doors, while last year's cross is burned or buried. While some suggest the tradition may have older Celtic influences, the practice as we know it today is firmly rooted in Christian folk custom and is historically documented throughout Ireland. Taoist Fu talismans. Fu talismans are handwritten paper charms used in Taoist and Chinese folk religious practices. They contain symbolic script representing commands or requests directed to gods, spirits, or cosmic forces. Historically, Fu talismans have been used for protection against illness, misfortune, harmful spirits, or bad luck, and they appear across centuries of Taoist ritual manuals and temple traditions. A Taoist priest creates the talisman through a ritual that often includes meditation, incense, and chanting. Once written, the talisman can be carried, worn, pasted on a door, or burned and mixed with water to drink, each method serving a different protective purpose. Their significance lies in the belief that they transmit divine authority or alignment with cosmic order, offering spiritual safeguarding to devotees. Incantation bowls. Incantation bowls are clay vessels inscribed with protective texts in Aramaic, Syriac, or other local scripts, used in Mesopotamia from roughly the 6th to 8th century CE. Archaeologists have found hundreds of these bowls buried under homes, thresholds, or corners of buildings. The inscriptions call upon divine names and protective formulas designed to neutralize harmful forces, curses, or disruptive spirits. To use one, a ritual expert wrote the text in a spiraling pattern inside the bowl and then placed it upside down so that any harmful entity entering the home would symbolically be trapped beneath it. Many bowls include drawings of bound figures representing the forces being restrained. This practice is one of the best documented forms of ancient household protection in the Near East and gives valuable insight into everyday spiritual life during that era. Hamsa Hand Amulet. The Hamsa is a hand-shaped charm used across Jewish, Muslim, and Middle Eastern folk traditions. Its earliest forms appear in ancient North Africa and the Levant. The symbol represents an open right hand and is associated with protection, blessing, and defense against the evil eye. Many versions include an eye in the center of the palm. For centuries, people have used the Hamsa on jewelry, household plaques, clothing, and doorways. Its use spans multiple religions: Jews associated with the hand of Miriam, Muslims with the hand of Fatima, and others with general protective power. A Hamsa is typically crafted from metal, clay, wood, or glass, and may include words or prayers depending on tradition. It is used simply by wearing it or placing it prominently in a home. Some families hang Hamsas near cradles or front doors, believing the hand catches harmful looks or intentions. Touching or kissing the charm is a common custom when someone feels afraid or threatened. The charm functions as a visual protector. No ritual is required beyond keeping it displayed and treating it as a symbol of divine safeguarding. Now for the powerful defensive spells. Icelandic Galdur Protection Spell. I bless myself with this stave. This medieval Icelandic rune spell was used to protect the practitioner from enemies and harm. By speaking the words while inscribing a protective rune stave, a specific magical symbol, on their body, shield, or object, the user was believed to invoke divine or magical power that made them invulnerable to attack, both physical and spiritual. Ancient Egyptian Utterance 300. O Horus, guard me from those who seek to harm me. Found in the pyramid texts, this protective spell was recited by priests over a person or inscribed on tombs. It was believed to summon the protective power of the god Horus, shielding the speaker or deceased from hostile spirits, enemies, or malevolent forces that might threaten life or the afterlife. Greek Magical Papyri Spell. Protect me from every evil spirit and hostile power. From the Greek magical papyri, the 2nd to 5th century CE, this spell was often spoken while inscribing protective symbols or burning incense. Its purpose was to invoke divine authority and supernatural forces to create an invisible shield around the person, deflecting curses, harmful magic, or malevolent spirits. Jewish Psalm 91 Recitation. He who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. Psalm 91 has historically been recited as a protective spell in Jewish folk practice. The psalm invokes God's guardianship, protecting the reciter from demonic forces, illness, and spiritual danger. It was often spoken daily over sleeping children or written on amulets for continuous protection. Islamic Ruqayya Protective Verse. This phrase comes from Ayat al-Kursi, Quran 2255, historically recited for protection against jinn, envy, and harm. By speaking these words with faith, the believer calls upon God's supreme authority, creating a spiritual shield that prevents unseen forces from harming them or their household. Tibetan Buddhist Furba spell. I bind and pin all harmful spirits, let them not disturb the living. In Vajrayana practice, this incantation accompanies the Furba, a ritual dagger. Spoken while performing the ritual, it was believed to immobilize negative energies and spirits, preventing them from causing harm, illness, or misfortune to the practitioner or community. Zoroastrian Kusti prayer. I gird myself with the sacred cord, may Ahura Mazda protect me. This prayer, recited during the daily tying of the sacred Kusti cord, calls upon Ahura Mazda to protect the individual from Druj, or evil forces. Historically, it was believed that repeating these words while performing the physical gesture of girding created both a spiritual and physical barrier against malevolent entities. Hindu Atharvaveda protection mantra, Raksha Raksha, protect me from all harm. This mantra from the Atharvaveda was historically recited to ward off enemies, disease, and misfortune. By speaking it aloud or mentally focusing on its words, the practitioner invoked divine forces to surround them with protection, creating a spiritual shield that safeguarded body and mind. Late antique Mesopotamian incantation bowl spell. You shall not enter, evil spirit, you are trapped by this writing. This spell, inscribed in a spiral on ceramic bowls, was historically used in Mesopotamia, 6th to 8th century CE, to protect households from demons. Reciting it while placing the bowl upside down in a corner was believed to trap and immobilize malevolent entities, preventing them from harming the inhabitants. Thanks for sticking around to explore some of the most fascinating defensive magic traditions in history. If you enjoyed this deep dive into real protective practices from around the world, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss the next exploration into ancient knowledge and hidden traditions. And if you're ready to switch gears from defense to pure power, don't miss my video on the most powerful offensive magic in history, where we dive into rituals, curses, and supernatural forces meant to strike rather than shield. You can check it out right here. See you there.